With some breaking news, the national television schedule, it's been released for the 2025 W season. There are 175 games you can cash on national TV and on streaming.
And just take a guess how many of those games involve Caitlyn Clark. Yep, the haters might want to grab a stuffed animal and maybe some Pepto-Bismol, because the WNBA's national broadcast schedule is out, and so is the worst kept secret in the sports world. Caitlyn Clark is the WNBA. No amount of sneaky PR statements or comments about scheduling conflicts can hide it anymore. The networks, just like the team owners, are making big money moves to capitalize on Caitlyn. The Indiana Fever, yes. The team that was 5-31 just a few years ago and played to the echoes of half-empty arenas until Caitlyn arrived, will have 41 of their 44 games nationally televised or streamed in 2025. That's right, 41 out of 44. That's an insane broadcast takeover, the kind usually reserved for dynasties or big market teams. And it's pretty ironic. While media talking heads twist themselves into knots trying to find faults with Caitlyn Clark and stir up fake drama, their networks sure have no problem cashing in big by broadcasting her games.
Wheeler finds Clark from the logo.
The WNBA fought for mainstream attention for years, and now, thanks to Caitlyn's star power, they're finally getting it. The Fever have ABC and ESPN slots like they're the Lakers or Celtics. They're riding the hot hand all the way to Profit Town. Oh, but there's more. Stick around because this is just one of many recent developments that suggest this will be a massive year for Caitlyn and the Fever. And even though this is all great news for the WNBA, you just know there are star players who are upset with Caitlyn getting almost full national exposure. Angel may want to spend some of the $50,000 she got from Unrivaled on some noise-canceling headphones. Just wait until you see how many more games Caitlyn's getting. Let's get into it. But first, if you think Caitlyn's going to sell out every arena this season, smash that like button. Okay, let's talk about this bonkers national broadcast schedule. The Indiana Fever are basically the new primetime obsession. 41 of 44 games on national TV or streaming, which includes games on ABC, ESPN, CBS, name a network, and you'll probably see Caitlyn dropping threes on it.
Clark, step back three, knocks it down.
2 in the first quarter against Connecticut.
Clark connects on a three.
This is a level of exposure the WNBA has never seen for a single team, or ever for that matter. It doesn't matter that Indiana isn't a champion or big market. Caitlyn Clark is the league's biggest draw, period. The network saw last year's off-the-charts ratings whenever she played and said, we need more of that. In 2024, her rookie season, the league smashed modern records for viewership. It was the most watched WNBA season in 24 years, with more than 54 million viewers tuning in across networks. And guess who was front and center in many of the highest-rated games? Yep, Caitlyn and the Fever. A regular season Fever game on ABC drew 2.23 million viewers, insane for a WNBA game, and another on CBS hit 2.25 million. These are NBA-level TV numbers happening in the WNBA, thanks to one rookie. And then came the playoffs.
Discouraged Alyssa Thomas from making some of her great passes.
No one picks up Clark, who cans the three.
Her first-round series drew more viewers than the later rounds without her. One Fever playoff game got 2.5 million viewers, higher than the 2024 finals, which averaged 1.57 million viewers. ESPN, ABC, CBS, they're essentially competing for a piece of the Caitlyn action. We've got games of hers on weekend afternoons, weeknight primetime, you name it. It's a full media frenzy around one player. This kind of schedule weight has typically been reserved for, like, LeBron James or Steph Curry. For a WNBA sophomore to command this, it's mind-blowing. If you're a fan of another team, don't worry, you'll still see them whenever they play Caitlyn and the Fever. Speaking of other teams, how many national broadcasts are they getting?
With such star power on those teams, it's really no surprise they're atop the list for the most games available for you to check out on a national scale. The Fever, they lead the league with 41 games here, followed by the Aces 33, the champion Liberty at 32.
Listen, 33 and 32 games out of 44 is still a lot of national exposure, but there's a clear gap between Caitlyn, Asia Wilson, Brianna Stewart, and the league's other top stars. And then there's Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky. They have 24 nationally broadcasted games, which is decent. 5 of them are against, you guessed it, the Indiana Fever. Let's face it, every team that faces the Fever is getting the national treatment, so Angel can't go off and claim that she's the catalyst here. While this may be a bruise to Angel's ego to have nearly half the number of televised games as Caitlyn, it's just par for the course at this point. As a consolation prize, when Caitlyn is your opponent, you get the spotlight too. In fact, demand for Fever road games got so crazy that at least 6 teams moved their home dates versus Indiana to larger venues just to accommodate the crowds. The Dallas Wings, for example, shifted a June game to a 20,000-seat NBA arena. The Chicago Sky moved 2 games to the United Center, which seats nearly 21,000 fans. Even the Atlanta Dream upgraded to the State Farm Arena, home of the Atlanta Hawks, though their owner hilariously claimed it was due to a scheduling conflict at their usual arena. I mean, we can all understand that you can't come out and say that you're only upgrading arenas for a player who's not on your team, but a scheduling conflict? Talk about a happy accident that allows you to sell 5 times the tickets at higher prices. As a result, Caitlyn was jokingly nicknamed the scheduling conflict, since normal arenas suddenly aren't available only when she's in town. But can you blame teams for making the move to larger digs? Caitlyn is a guaranteed economic stimulus package. Just look at what happened last year. Total attendance jumped 48% year over year, and the WNBA notched 154 sellouts, more than triple the previous season. When Caitlyn came to town, arenas that used to have plenty of empty seats were suddenly packed to the rafters. Her own team, the Fever, obliterated attendance records. Over 340,000 fans came to Fever home games in 2024, a new WNBA high, and an astounding 319% increase from the year before. Read that again. A team that drew about 80,000 fans in 2023 drew 340,000 in 2024. That's the Caitlyn Clark effect in action. While some folks might get jealous or nitpick, this is undeniably amazing for the WNBA. It signals something we've never seen before: unprecedented demand for the women's game, all sparked by one player capturing the nation's attention. The league is venturing into brand new territory thanks to the Caitlyn Clark phenomenon.
If we say her stats are today, what?
20 points, 8.4 assists, 6 rebounds.
That's crazy.
But 5
That's crazy.
5
Is
point,
that dominant?
5.6
Those are
turnovers,
hell of a
too.
number.
Those are hell of a numbers.
But to me, that's not
Period.
dominating.
But, yes.
Many thought, and some haters hoped, that the Caitlyn Clark phenomenon would die down. But based on teams moving their games to larger arenas, networks broadcasting almost all Fever games nationally, and the Fever selling out 15,000 tickets to a preseason game in Iowa against the Brazilian national team in under an hour, it's clear that we've only just begun to see Caitlyn's impact on the game. This exposure is creating a snowball effect. New viewers tune in because of the Caitlyn Clark buzz, then get hooked when the games are competitive. While people want to see Caitlyn, she's only as impressive as the talented opponents who push her to do great things. The better the product, the more fans stick around. It's exactly what the league has dreamed of.
Samuelson, nice pass there to Clark. Clark behind the back. Oh, it's Smith with the finish. Brilliance from Caitlyn Clark.
Now here's where we're going to see some real drama. Last year, Caitlyn took a basement team and brought them back to respectability. After going 1-8 to start the season, they went on a 19-12 run, finishing with a 500 record and making the playoffs. It was an unexpected turn of events for a Fever team that hadn't made the playoffs since 2016. But the Fever look nothing like they did last year. With this year's national broadcasts, die-hard and casual WNBA fans are going to get a front row seat to a championship caliber team. It's not just Caitlyn leading, carrying the load, she's got reinforcements. The Fever front office went all in this offseason, making big moves to build a championship caliber roster around their superstar.
Helped guide Connecticut to the semifinals where they've been each of the last 5 years, and Bonner.
Open 4 against Howard, and she's met at the top and rejected.
This team's so tough. You look at Big Sil inside, Sylvia Fowles and Shepard. Nice pass to Sophie Cunningham.
They started by upgrading their coaching staff, cutting Christy Sides, and snagging Coach of the Year award winner Stephanie White from the Connecticut Sun. They signed veterans DeWanna Bonner and Natasha Howard to bring a blend of offense, defense, and championship experience. Bonner, a 6-time All-Star at 37, still has plenty in the tank. Howard is a former Defensive Player of the Year who can patrol the paint. They then added defensive anchor Brianna Turner and 2-time champion Sydney Colson for depth and leadership. And in a splashy trade, Indiana brought in fan-favorite sharpshooter Sophie Cunningham, who promptly announced she'll be Caitlyn's on-court bodyguard, ready to stand up to anyone who tries to get chippy with Clark. In other words, if you mess with Caitlyn, you now have to answer to Sophie. Sophie's fiery swagger is exactly what Indiana needed. She'll make any opponent thinking of roughing up Caitlyn think twice.
Guy kicks it to Cunningham. 3 on the way is good. No foul is called, and now tempers are flaring.
The Fever also made sure to keep their own core intact, re-signing star guard Kelsey Mitchell, a 19-point-per-game scorer. And let's not forget they still have former #1 pick Aaliyah Boston, the 2023 Rookie of the Year. Add it all up, and Indiana suddenly boasts 5 All-Stars, plus multiple champions, and a much deeper bench. Talk about a transformation. Just a year ago, the Fever were a perennial lottery team. Caitlyn's arrival already dragged them into the playoffs in 2024 essentially by herself. Now she's looking around and seeing a stacked squad alongside her. On paper, the Fever have gone from rebuilding to potentially a super team in record time. Expectations in Indy have exploded. Fans and analysts are now whispering about championship potential. Remember, this franchise hasn't won a title since 2012, and suddenly people are asking if 2025 could be the year that drought ends. Even neutral WNBA fans are itching to watch this team because, frankly, it'll be must-see TV. If Indiana was fun last year, this new roster could be absolutely electric.
Here comes Clark, bouncing to back, Bentley, who lays it in.
With all these new weapons, one has to wonder just how much better can Caitlyn get with a supporting cast like this. She was already a one-woman wrecking crew in college, carrying Iowa to back-to-back title games, and a franchise savior as a rookie. Now she finally has elite help. We might be about to witness a whole new level of the Caitlyn Clark show. Caitlyn poured it on after the Olympic break, averaging 23 points per game, enough to make her a serious MVP contender in any season where A'ja Wilson doesn't drop 27 points per game. With a better supporting cast, you've got to think that 23 points per game is her new floor, and her assists will also increase significantly. And we have to remember, she's only 23, not even close to her prime. But of course, with all this good news comes a bit of drama. Not everyone is eager to bend the knee to the Caitlyn Clark effect. And as the Players' Union gears up for a new CBA negotiation, some WNBA stars are talking like they hold all the cards now, conveniently glossing over who dealt those cards in the first place. Take Angel Reese and Nafisa Collier, for example. Angel said on her podcast that if the league doesn't meet the players' demands, we sitting out, basically threatening a strike.
What does that mean? We deserve more.
Of course,
everybody.
I agree.
Everybody.
I agree with that.
They gonna get more. They probably gonna be making more than us.
No, they are. Yeah. I've been in the meetings. They are.
I need to get in the. I need to get in the field.
You need to come to the
I
meeting.
gotta get in the meetings because I'm hearing like, yeah, they don't give us. If y'all don't give us what we want, like, we sitting out.
Collier, who is vice president of the WNBA Players Association, echoed that sentiment, saying players are prepared for a work stoppage if necessary. Now, to be fair, they're not wrong about fighting for better pay. With the new media rights deal taking effect in 2026, revenues are about to skyrocket, and hopefully, the league should be in a place to pay players much more. No, it's not going to be NBA-level cash, but it should be enough to stop players from having to play in Europe and leagues like Unrivaled to pay the bills. But here's the thing, that leverage they're feeling didn't appear out of thin air. It came largely from the massive spike in interest that Caitlyn Clark generated. One sports business analyst calculated that Caitlyn was responsible for 26.5% of all WNBA economic activity in 2024. Let that sink in. Over a quarter of the league's business tied to one rookie. She boosted ticket sales. 1 in every 6 tickets sold was attributed to her fan draw, merchandise, TV ratings, you name it. She basically dragged the WNBA into a new era of relevance. In fact, games without Caitlyn averaged barely 1/3 the TV viewers of games with her, and Fever games accounted for nearly half of the league's national TV revenue last year. Those numbers are simply staggering, yet you won't hear Angel Reese or others thanking Caitlyn in those interviews. Instead, there's a lot of, we earned this, we have leverage. It's a bit awkward because everyone can see what's driving the surge.
Some of your peers, they will recognize, her game, but they won't recognize her impact.
Right.
How can you separate the two? It's kind of
hard,
right?
And I used and Jax, you're absolutely right. And I was like, come on, you big dummies. Everybody now has an opportunity to pull up their chair and have a seat.
Mm-hmm.
The league and team execs won't say it outright either. Commissioner Kathy Engelbert's schedule announcement credited incredible basketball and countless memorable performances across the board, carefully avoiding putting the spotlight on any one player. We all know which player that is, Kathy. Some of this is just politics and pride. Players don't want to admit that a rookie came in and outshined them to this degree. And hey, a rising tide lifts all boats. Caitlyn's popularity is getting more money and attention for everyone, which is great. But you do sense a bit of saltiness. There's this manufactured rivalry narrative from college that's carried over, like Team Clark versus Team Reese. It's fun for fans to debate, sure. Angel Reese even leaned into it, acting like she's on the same level of stardom, but come on. On the court and in impact, Caitlyn is in a league of her own right now. That's just facts. Some fans are even saying these players should be thanking Caitlyn for giving them this platform. But of course, you won't hear that publicly. Bottom line? Some players may grumble or try to share the credit, but without Caitlyn, we're not talking about record TV deals or sold-out arenas to this extent. And the irony is, the one person who isn't clamoring for credit is Caitlyn herself. So how is Caitlyn handling all this? In a word, gracefully. The one person who could justifiably pound her chest and demand more is instead staying humble and focused. Caitlyn constantly deflects praise to her teammates and opponents. She talks about growing the game and team goals more than her own stats. While others hint at strikes and leverage, she hasn't touched that subject publicly. She just keeps putting in work and letting her game do the talking. A perfect example. The NBA invited Caitlyn to take part in their All-Star Weekend three-point contest. A huge honor, and you know she would have stolen the show, but she turned it down. Why? Because she didn't want to be a sideshow at the NBA's event. She'd rather headline the WNBA's own three-point contest at her All-Star Weekend, which conveniently will be in Indianapolis. In other words, she passed up a big spotlight in order to elevate her own league's stage. That's the kind of league-first mindset that makes her special. And while others debate who deserves what, consider this. Caitlyn reportedly earned $11 million in 2024 from endorsements and NIL deals, making her one of the world's highest-paid female athletes. Yet, her WNBA salary was about $75,000, plus some bonuses. That means less than 1% of her earnings came from the league. She could easily gripe about that imbalance. After all, no one delivers more value for those dollars than she does. But instead, she seems to accept her role in this moment. Her agent openly said she'll likely never be paid what she truly deserves by the WNBA, and Caitlyn herself seems fine with that. Why? Because she understands she's a trailblazer. Think of her like the WNBA's Larry Bird, the Midwestern superstar who saves a fledgling league, setting the stage for the next generation to reap the rewards. Bird and Magic didn't make today's NBA money, but they turned the NBA into a viable and exciting sport, paving the way for the Jordans and LeBrons to come. Caitlyn appears willing to be that figure for women's basketball. Her legacy might be that she took the WNBA to a whole new level, so that future players, not just the stars, but the depth players who today earn a 5-figure salary, have a healthy financial future ahead of them. In the meantime, she's building a brand and fan base that transcends the WNBA. People follow her every move, whether she's teeing off at a Pro-Am golf event or cheering on her favorite NFL team with an international pop sensation. She's drawing headlines. She's becoming that rare star who is known outside her sport's typical audience. And through it all, she keeps saying the right things, staying respectful and embracing the pressure. She often says she loves the big stage and the noise that comes with it. Good thing, because that spotlight is only getting brighter from here. When you watch Caitlyn interact in interviews, she's all about the team, the fans, the bigger picture. Even after a season of being called the savior of the league, she hasn't developed a diva attitude. If anything, she's doubling down on working hard and proving people right. As fans, we have to appreciate that. It's not every day you see someone handle superstardom with such poise, especially at 23 years old.
For the Sparks, 0 for 9, and Caitlyn Clark
fell to the aces in 4 games. Clark connects.
Caitlyn Clark may never get a paycheck that reflects the true value she's providing to the WNBA, but she's already securing something more important, a lasting impact on the sport. Years from now, when the WNBA is thriving on a whole new level, we'll remember that it was Caitlyn, with her ridiculous talent, her humility, and her determination, who lit the fuse. The Caitlyn Clark phenomenon is very real, and it's changing the WNBA in real time. She's filling arenas, shattering TV ratings, and inspiring an arms race among teams. And she's doing it all with a smile and a humble attitude. Teams can call it a scheduling conflict or credit incredible performances all they want, but we know the truth. Caitlyn is the superstar driving this new era, and the best part is how it's lifting the entire league. The stage is set for an absolutely unforgettable season. If you thought last year was wild, get ready. Year 2 of the Caitlyn Clark Show could be even bigger. We might see attendance and viewership records fall again, and who knows, maybe even a deep playoff run or a championship for the Fever that would send the sports world into a frenzy. One thing's for sure, you won't want to miss a minute of it. So mark those Fever game dates on your calendar, tune in, and enjoy the ride. If you're still here, drop a basketball in the comments to say hi. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.